All right, for this show, we're going and diving into the NBA fantasy basketball stock market. We're going to be talking about the players that have had a red hot start, the disappointments, and what you can do with them. Can you buy it low? Can you sell them high? Or do you need to ride the wave? Let's get into it. G'day, everybody. Welcome back to the Ball Logic Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I'm Braino. I'm with Malley. It is a Friday night, as we always do in Sydney/Queensland, Brisbane, east coast of Australia, I guess is a better way to explain it. And we're here to talk stock market. And no, you're thinking, hang on, am I watching the right podcast? Yes, you are. You're watching an NBA fantasy basketball podcast. We're just talking about highs and lows, Malley, and we've got 20 players on the list here to talk through. Plenty of buy low, sell high options.
Yeah, mate. Lots to talk about. Lots of fun things in the NBA to talk about. I do like that we're called the East Coast boys. That's got a nice ring to it. And any time I feel too far away for you, I just go and put a toe in the Pacific Ocean, and then I hope that you're doing the same thing, like the romantic thing, looking up at the same stars. But I'm just down there dipping my dogs in the deep blue, and I'm hoping that you're doing the same thing for a little bit of connection.
Yeah. It's one of those things where we won't have to tell each other we're doing it either. Like, because that's the ultimate test of the connection, really, isn't it? Is if we do it and we don't talk about it. So I'm with you.
Exactly right.
I'm with you on that. Guys, before we dive into things, it is a bit of a new show. We'll bring this to you every single week. You'll get this on a Friday in the States, Saturday in Australia. We'll be talking who are the players that have impressed us from week two, who are the players that are obviously flailing and struggling, and we're going to have a conversation around whether you should stick it out, whether you should sell high, or whether you should buy them low. A lot of these guys you're probably thinking about already. Some of them are even waiver wire pickups. So we'll dive into that. But guys, hit the subscribe button, the like button, follow, leave us a 5-star review. Hit the hype button on YouTube. It does help us get the show out to more people. We would really appreciate that if you do like the content. Malley, let's kick things off, mate. And we'll kick things off with the 8th best player in fantasy basketball in the moment. And no, he was not taken in the first round. His ADP was around the 60 mark, and that is Larry Markkinen, who's been just red hot to kickstart the year. He's the 8th best player in fantasy basketball at the moment. What are you doing with him? Obviously he can't sustain this kind of level of production, but is he a sell high at the moment with what he's doing, or do you think you want to ride him at least until we're looking at All-Star break when he inevitably gets shut down?
Yeah, I think I put out a post today saying basically out and out that I think he's a sell high, sell now type dude. There's things that he's doing that even 2 years ago when he was quite impressive. I mean, we'll try and forget about the dismal performances last year where he just seemed like he didn't really want to be there. We saw how hot he looked when he was playing in Eurobasket, playing for Finland, and then he's kind of continued that over. There's no tired leg syndrome. He's just straight back into it. But yeah, like even yesterday with steals and blocks galore, that's just not him. Like if there's one, I mean, could the shooting stay? Not to the level that he's doing it, but he's always been a good shooter. He's always been a guy that can work his way to the line and hit his free throws. He can hit threes pretty easily. I feel like the entirety of the team has got better around him. Like Kessler's playing like a man possessed, and Keontae George is playing wonderfully as well. So it's not him in isolation. He's making the team better, and the team are making him better. The problem is that, yes, one, the defensive numbers aren't going to stick. Two, he's shooting out of this world. I think that is something that's going to hold to a degree, just not the degree that it is now. But outside of that, he doesn't get assists. Rebounds come and go. I mean, he's next to some decent, Walker Kessler is a guy that is happy to bring the boards down. And just being a top 8 guy when you probably got him at, 70, with the concerns that he would play like he did last season. The other thing that we always have to be aware of is that he just probably won't be around come March, even if they are doing well. I think they just pack it up. It's hard to tell if they make it into the, into that play-in range. Will they just keep going? But yeah, I don't want to be there to play that game. I also kind of feel like sometimes too, when you've picked up a guy that late and he's coming in at 8th now, I'd be quite happy to turn it in and get like 20 pick places of value. If I could get a guy in the like 40s, 50s, I'm stoked. I'm not looking for a guy in the top 10, clearly. I'm not looking for a guy in the top 25. But if I can get a guy around that 40 mark, 50 mark, man, I'm stoked, especially if it's a guy who's around the 40, 50 mark, who's probably not playing that well and can step up maybe 10 spots. And then you get a guy in the 30s. And why not? Like, he's just playing so well. What's the harm? Chuck out some offers, see what people come back with, and you might like what you see, or whether just ride the wave. If he goes back to being the 70 best player, sweet. Like, you're just back where you started.
Yeah, I think, I don't blame anybody for holding and just sticking strong with him for a little bit because he's putting up good production. He'll get you a few early season wins and then you can probably punt him. The problem is, you're taking the risk of him reverting back to doing what we know he does, be the 50, 60th best player. So, yeah, for me, I'd probably ride the wave a little bit longer, but the wave is going to drop very quickly, I think. But you mentioned his teammate Walker Kessler, who is currently the 11th best player in fantasy basketball. He's 750 from the field on 8 shots a game. He's scoring 17 points per game, 10 boards, 2.5 blocks, 1.5 steals, and 1.5 threes, Mally. Threes.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah,
started to
yeah.
shoot the three, which is really impressive and taking his game to the next level. I reckon it'll open up a fair amount of stuff for him. And it'll open up things for Utah as well, which is probably one of the contributing factors as to why Laurie's doing so well.
Yeah, I reckon he looked down at his arms and then realized it was white, and he was like, "Oh my God, I can shoot threes." And he just started like locking and loading. Like, he's like, "Why didn't anyone tell me?" Yeah, the man with two first names. I mean, never trust it. Isn't that the saying? Don't trust someone who's got two first names.
That is it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm surprised he's still 11th. Like, he had a rip snorter of a first game, then he had a pretty sad second game. Like, was that a flash in the pan? Then he's played well again in these last couple. I think most of what he does is real. He's obviously got some confidence to hit threes now, which, probably if you picked him up, you put him into a punt 3 build anyway. So maybe that's just a cheeky bonus. Like, I don't think you got Walker Kessler and you're like, I'm going to dominate threes this season. You were like, I got Walker Kessler and I'm going to be competitive in blocks, rebounds, and field goal percentage. But yeah, maybe you're hoping that he doesn't try and take more threes and get his confidence up too much, because that'll damage his field goal percentages as one of the areas that he's a top 25 guy in. But yeah, hold him. I'd be happier with what 3 different parts of value between him and Larry Markkinen to just hold him. I got no intention of selling him. He's the bonus stuff he's doing in now. That's happy days, but I think he's going to be good. They obviously don't want to play what's his name, Yusuf Nurkic. So, wrong team.
No, and look,
right
you probably
team.
took him earlier than Markkinen too, right? Yeah, Kessler would have gone a lot earlier than Markkinen. I think people were starting to take him even as early as the 30s, probably around the 40s mark. People were pretty happy to take him, whereas people are getting Markkinen at 60, 70. So it's a bit closer to what we would expect from him. And obviously when things drop back, the 3.3 turnovers are probably what's really hurting him. Otherwise, he is probably a top 10 player at the moment. But again, fantasy basketball rankings at this time of the year are just a bit of a non-event. Like, it doesn't really matter 2 weeks into the season, but it's good for content for us anyway. Speaking of good for content, Keyshawn George has been fantastic for content this year. Everyone's talking about him. He is the 16th best player at the moment, doing some amazing things. 532 from the field is probably the most impressive thing from the lot, considering he was quite a poor efficiency guy last year. It looks like he's not only scoring the ball better, but at the same time, he's incredibly efficient, which is surprising, on 3.4 threes per game too.
Yeah, and it was good to see today with Bilal coming back that they didn't do something insane and move him out of the starting lineup. So he's there playing with Bilal. He had a little quieter game than the games that came before it today, but he still got those defensive stats. He's still got his rebounds. His field goal percentage was still pretty strong. So obviously, when you take someone who's in the lineup with him and that Bub sucked and then they put Bilal in, it's going to affect him somewhat. That's just less assists, less rebounds, less ball in hand type deal. But yeah, he's another guy. He might be. I'm hoping. I don't have him in any teams, but I'm hoping that when all said and done, he turns out to be the Dyson Daniels of this season, where people just could pick him up off the wire at the start of the season. Pick him up in that first week, and then you just can't remember. It blows your mind to think by the end of the season that's where you got him.
100%, completely agree. I would call him a sell high, though. If you've got him, you capitalise on the good stuff that he's doing now before that eventually falls back, which we know it's going to pretty quickly. Speaking of another guy that's in the same team, Alexander Sarr, 21st at the moment. And again, we knew that this was going to improve. He had some good spots where he was sub 400 from the field last year, and he was never going to do that 2 years in a row. He was always going to get better in his second year. He was always going to get more usage and a better opportunity in his second year. And Washington are actually not too bad to watch this year, funnily enough. They're actually tolerable on the eyes. So, and he had obviously a big 30-point game last year. I think there was only 3 players in the league in history that have gone 30, 10, and 3 blocks or whatever it is. And I can't remember exactly who it was. It was LeBron James, him, and someone, and might have even been Wemby, sub 20 years old or 19 years old. So, yeah, he's in a good spot. Good to watch. Another sell high for me.
Yeah, definitely. I do think he's going to be better. So I think it's a sell high in the sense that he probably won't be able to hold this, but not a sell high in the sense that he's going to revert back to 2024-25, the version of him. I mean, he was taken as in a weak draft class as a second overall pick, so you know that you're going to have to, that there was things seen in him. It's great that both percentages have improved. Like, because the thing was, not only was he a poor field goal percent guy, he sucked from the free throw line too. So you kind of didn't want him to take shots at all. Like, I had him last year. I'm just pray that he got a rebound and passed it to someone for them to get a shot up, so at least he could get a rebound and an assist. But it is good to see. He is a sell high, but a sell high, as I said, in the sense that he won't revert back, but he won't stay this good.
Yeah, agreed. Another sell high, Keontae George. Obviously, you would have got him pretty late, to be fair, but he was currently the 25th best player in fantasy basketball at the moment. Mind you, 4.5 turnovers per game and a 424 from the field. So, obviously that's probably what we expect from him, but a 9.3 assists per game on 22 points and shooting 971 from the free throw line. So, all of these numbers are heavily inflated. Can he keep it up, though? I don't think it's super, super inflated. I reckon it's definitely up a little bit, but I honestly think that he could probably be 18 to 19 points per game and 7 assists.
Yeah, they just completely gave up on him last year, which was wild to see. And then, they prioritised Collier. The problem is that, they've got 2 potential point guards still to come back into the mix, and that's going to impact him in some way. I don't think he's going to be a 16 assist type guy, but if he can stay at that, if he can be a 7 assist guy in a season where you can't get many big assist guys, and because so many big assist guys have gone, each team has kind of decided that everyone gets 1 more assist, except for Utah, which have gone, no, let's make our point guard just be the ball man. But they loved Collier last year. I think, irrespective of an injury, they were going to start Keontae George, and they will continue to start Keontae George, but they are not going to just cut Collier from being their starting point guard to not playing or not in the roster. So,
yeah, that's fair enough. Let's have a chat about the man of the moment, especially after today's games. Ryan Rollins. He is the 26th best player at the moment. Just from strength to strength, isn't he? Was it 25 points the other day, 31 points today, with 9 assists, mind you. He is on fire in Milwaukee, and they've got Doc Rivers, I don't trust him to do the right thing. So, they've got a real decision. Anyone with half a brain would have a decision to make on what they do with Kevin Porter Jr. and how that all plays out, because Ryan Rollins has been way too good to drop.
Yeah, if there's a man who can find a way to fuck things up, it's definitely going to be Doc Rivers. So, I have Rollins, and I also have KPJ. So I wish there was a way that they could both work and get the numbers together. But I think they'll hurt each other. And even though Rollins has been awesome, I think on this list he's one of the biggest sell highs that there is, just because not only do I think he can't play like this even if he was afforded the minutes, and Kevin Porter Jr., news came out tomorrow that he was out for the rest of the season for some reason, I just still wouldn't think it's. But he's got the double threat coming of losing minutes and probably cooling off. So yeah, I don't know what you'll get for him is the thing. So even though
Yeah.
he's a sell high, he's probably ends up being just a enjoy that he's probably bought you 2 weeks worth of wins at the start of the season when you probably needed them.
That's spot on. He doesn't provide much value when Kevin Porter Jr. returns unless Doc Rivers plays them both together. And look, yeah, you're right. Both of them copy hit then in that case. Talk to me about Trey Jones, mate. He's been a revelation, obviously, while Kobe White's been out as well. A guy that you could have picked up off waivers maybe last week, but definitely not this week. He's been snapped up in most leagues for good reason. And steal numbers through the roof as well. Trey Jones averaging 3 steals per game after 4 games to start the season, shooting nearly 600 from the floor. 7.5 assists per game as well. Playing in a team with Josh Giddey, who is very assist and usage dominant too. So it's really impressive numbers.
Yeah, he's been Josh Giddey light, but with steals. I've always liked Trey Jones. I liked him in San Antonio, but he really just didn't have a role there. But when he did get opportunities, he did do this. He was a fringe triple double type dude where he'd get just enough points and he'd get very close to being that double assist, double rebound type thing. He's always been an okay steals dude, but this is a revelation where he's getting 3 or 4. But again, that's probably just come down to minutes. He's playing twice as many minutes as he was when he was a Spur, or when I was, paying attention to him years back. But yeah, I'm glad he's out of there now. I'm glad he's got an opportunity. They're going nuts. It's wild to enjoy watching a Chicago Bulls game that's not in the 1990s. Yeah, I'm having a good time watching him, watching Mattas, watching Giddey do everything. It's fun. It's good watching.
Poor Vooch doesn't get a mention.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
Mm.
um, let's talk about Hammy Huckers Jr. Obviously, a big opportunity for him there now with a couple of injuries in Norm Powell and obviously Jovic has been dropped back to the bench. We'll probably talk about him a little bit later in the episode. But how long is this going to last? Do you think? I know Norm Powell's probably a short-term injury. So do you think things settle down a little bit when he's back?
Yeah, and I think there's just too many other guys that Spolstra can use. So I don't buy it. He's really being floated on over when he was nearly 600 from the field. I think today's game kind of flattened that out a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think you'll be able to sell him higher. But I do think for the point of this as a segment, is he going to cool off? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of someone who might not cool off, and probably one of my favourite ones on this list, it's Ryan Kalkbrenner from Charlotte. He is the 72nd best player as we are speaking right now. And I tell you what, this guy's been so good. Just basic big man stuff. Very efficient. He's only missed, I think, 2 shots. He's shooting 900 from the floor, which is not going to ever last. We're not silly. But he doesn't take any shots that are away from the rim. So that's a bonus. They're probably gonna be a 700 guy from the field. Add a couple of blocks in there. The minutes are great. I honestly think he could be a top 80 guy.
For a guy that just stands on the rim and basically plonks it in or dunks it, he doesn't get fouled ever either. So it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, unless you look at his college numbers, what he's going to do from the free throw line. He hit 1 of 1 today, so he's 100% from the free throw line currently. But he'll be a guy who gets absolutely damaged if ball goes down. But Ball's just feeding him at the moment. Ball's love and life. He can drive into the lane and get it himself. He can drive in the lane and kick to someone who can actually shoot threes, or he can pull enough attention that he's basically just rolling it in there to Kalkbrenner, and Kalkbrenner's just cherry picking and just plopping it in, which is, yeah, you're right. Traditional big man, good gear.
Yeah, it's the Culkin balls. That's what's happening at the moment, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yep.
Last man on this list is a good little waiver wire pickup for the day, depending on when we get this show out, or they're on the back to back. It's Jerace Walker. Now he's at 113th at the moment, but of course this is a guy that went undrafted in every draft, and that opportunity's now arisen where he's getting some minutes and he's looking quite good when he gets those minutes. He's getting your stocks, he gets your boards, he's taking a fair few shots as well. Second in the team in usage. There's a lot to like.
Yeah, I'd say by the time we get back to, All-Star break and the health has returned, he'll be a voice in the wind. But for right now, he's excellent. He's a good pickup. He's my favorite type of waiver guy where he just does a little smidge of everything. I don't like specialists. I don't like someone who's just a free throw guy or a threes guy or a rebound guy. But he's just doing enough of everything.
Yeah, and we'd add Josh Minot to this list as well. He's been awesome and probably a hold for the rest of the year based on the fact that no one would have drafted him, and he looks pretty set in the role that he has. So really like
Yep.
him. Now let's move on to the guys that are falling, and this might be a better conversation because obviously everyone's keen on the guys we just spoke about. But you mentioned trying to maybe get Laurie Markkinen to a guy that's around the 40s or 50s that you feel like is a buy low. I reckon Derek White fits that category perfectly. Currently, he's the 46th best player. A lot of people would have drafted him with the hope that he would be maybe a top 25 guy this year, and he has started incredibly slow. And it's funny, we're talking about the 46th best player in fantasy basketball being a letdown. But he's done everything
Yeah.
else really well. It's just the field goal percentage at the moment that's absolutely destroying him.
Which is funny because that's always been something he can has hung his hat on pretty well. Like he's kind of like a tiny big man. He gets blocks. His field goal percentage is always pretty good, and he could score points when he needs to. It's probably just him fitting into his new role. Like he really is their second best offensive option presently. And I feel like even though Peyton's been okay. He hasn't been a big offensive threat. He's been really the guy dishing more than anything, and getting rebounds. I don't know how that guy gets so many rebounds. He's like 5 foot nothing. But yeah, I'm unworried. I think, and just look, everything else is great. It's not like he's fallen apart. He's still getting his blocks. He's still getting his steals. He's getting assists. He's getting rebounds. He's just can't hit shit. And when that comes back, he's golden.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll come. You just got to be patient. If you are an owner, just hold tight. But if you aren't, I'd be trying to buy him low from whoever has him in your league at the moment because he will come good. Anthony Edwards, currently the 61st best player. Of course, we're talking about a guy who's gone down injured and will be out for the next, I think, week or 2 weeks at least, which is good in a way because they always bring him back too early. I feel like this guy just plays too many games. He's too smart for his own good. So giving him a bit of a break, especially with hammy, that's often a recurring injury, I think is a good thing for Anthony Edwards owners. So I'd tell people to hold strong there.
Yeah, he's probably lucky that Julius Randles is doing so much.
Yeah.
And whatever one of the good McDaniels that they have, seems to be just lock and loading at the moment. So they're still able to win. It's early in the season. For a team that I have no interest in, I do have him in one league. I think I picked him up at 10. So I was like, I couldn't avoid him any longer. So I had to take him in. But he's I think he's going to be okay. I'm not too worried.
That was that was a league of insight from memory because I ended up taking Trey at 8 in that league, and then Edwards ended up dropping off the back of that. So you can tell how happy I am that I took Trey at 8 at the moment. 2 weeks into the season, I'm stoked. You can see the smile on my face. Speaking of people that are stoked, you've got the floor because you and Matrix had a conversation about Miles Turner. Now, 95th best player at the moment. We've got a bit of extra data to talk about, an extra game that he played today. But talk to us, because you guys were having a conversation around, is he a buy low, is he a sell high? What are you doing with Miles Turner? Are you trying to get off now, or are you holding strong? What's your position?
Conversation is probably not the right verbiage. I'd say it was a little bit more aggressive than that to be a conversation. I'd say it was a heated debate between two loggerhead Maddies. And we put it out in the polls, and I don't think anything was really decisive. So, I mean, I have him as a buy low guy. I refuse to believe that Miles Turner has just fallen apart because he's come to a new team. His role should, by all metrics, be stronger. He is the second best guy on this team, where you would say in the past, Indiana, he might have been the third or potentially at times the fourth. So it is a bit of a bummer that the one game that he's come back to looking like the old Miles Turner was in the game that had no Giannis. So it's not really safe to say he's out of the woods. But he's still been averaging 2.5 blocks. The rebounds are the same as they've always been for him. He's never quite a double. 10 rebounds out of Miles Turner is pretty impossible, but to get 6 or 7 is pretty good. I'm not that worried about him, obviously.
I think he'll come good as well. I think he'll be fine. He's still shooting the three. I think obviously with Giannis out, I think he scored 17 points today with Giannis out. With Giannis back in, I think he just becomes a corner guy with Giannis in the team. That's probably my only issue, is that maybe there's just less opportunity for blocks, but he's still putting up 2.2 per game this year. This
Yep.
year so far. So
And,
it could be
and
much worse.
and Matrix's whole point around him was that he wanted to sell him now before it got worse. When my kind of my the cornerstone of my kind of point of view was that it wouldn't be a good time to sell him now because his value is so low and you're not going to get anyone back. And then you'll
Yep.
find that you'll wait 2 weeks and he'll be back and you'll be kicking yourself that you made the trade. So
Especially in the first 2 weeks, like how often and this happens to all of us, we're not immune to it, but you move off of a guy in the first 2 weeks of the season, and then something happens, they come good, you notice you're a little bit antsy and you had the trigger finger and you shouldn't have. That, I reckon every single year I've dropped at least one guy that has ended up biting me in the ass. And that could be
yep.
Miles Turner this year for sure.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
made
go.
an awful trade today. I don't even want to talk about it, so I'll tell you off air. The league under knows what I did, and they're being unforgiving.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to that. Nikola Jovic, 118th at the moment. Now, it's more everybody thought he was going to start. We thought Khalil Ware was going to come off the bench in Miami. Obviously, they've gone back to what they did last year, and what they did worked last year. Bam at the 4 was great. Ware at the 5 is great. He deserves to start. Now, anybody who bought stocks in Jovic, what are they doing? Because I don't see his role getting any better off the bench. I don't see him getting 28 minutes off the bench. We've seen him get 24 minutes. We saw him get 8 minutes today, and I think it was due to the fact that he was ill. He was questionable with illness before this game, so I wouldn't look too much into today's game or yesterday. But there is cause for concern with Jovic. How would you approach it? If do you have him in any leagues?
Yeah, I had him in 2. I dropped him in 1, and I think I'm holding on to him in 1. But they're both deeper leagues. If I was anywhere near 12, 14, 16, I wouldn't bother. But in 20 man, you've got to be a little bit more patient
Yep.
because you don't want to drop someone who's a top 50 guy too unnecessarily. But when they've got Larson, whatever his name is it what's the guy they've been playing at shooting guard?
Yeah.
Pele Larson. He,
Yep.
they're looking for reasons to not play him, and that's never
Mm.
good. It's not that they've got guys in there and they're like, damn, I wish we're an injury away and then he's going to take off. It's just a shame that they teased us in the preseason and they were like, nah, we're done with Ware. It's all going to be Jovic, and then they didn't even give it a game in the regular season. It was
That's
one of the
rough.
biggest teasers I've ever had. So.
It feels. I'm with you on that. Trae Young, 132, mate. He obviously is, and I tried to find a graphic that made him look disappointed. So I hope you can really appreciate that use of graphic there. So he obviously is injured. I don't think he's going to be out for that long. Very rarely does he get injured and spend lots of time on the sideline. But in saying that, he has been, regardless of injury, he has been quite disappointing. We knew that the field goal percentage was poor. There's every chance that you have him in a build that is punt field goal anyway. So it shouldn't overly hurt you in that respect. But 371 from the field, only 821 from the free throw line as well. 82% is unders for Trae Young. And I think we've seen it get gradually worse over the last couple of years as well. 1-3 per game and only 7.8 assists for the assist leader the last couple of years. So everything's back a little bit. Do you think it's just teething issues with Porzingis and a couple of different changes there?
I'm hoping so, because you would know because you've watched plenty of Atlanta games. They haven't looked amazing.
No.
They haven't really got off to the best of starts. Maybe you could say like Okongwu's been their best fantasy player realistically. I mean,
Yep.
you've got Jalen Johnson, but he had to sit that game, and he also had one that wasn't that impressive. But yeah, I'm with you. You never picked up Trey and were like, I'm going to have a good crack at field goal percentage this year. You're either punting it or you're just going with the flow a little bit or trying to balance it out. But yeah, I want 12 assists a game out of him.
Yep.
That's what you would have signed up for. If you don't get the other stuff, that's okay. But his value, the reason he got into that top 12 this year was because assists are at a premium, and you were like, well, if I could get, he is the category winner, equivalent of Wemby with blocks.
Yep.
There's a scarcity on assists, and you picked him up going, if I can get him, I'm over. Like that's just assist for me every week for the rest of the season. But
Yeah,
yeah, not being able to do that's hurt.
for sure, for sure. But again, he'll be back. He'll come good eventually. These numbers are definitely low. You can buy low on Trae Young, 100%, absolutely, if you can. There's a couple of Pelicans on this list, mate. Jordan Poole, 137. Now, obviously dropped back to the bench in the last game. It looks like he's projected to start in this one, but who knows what they're going to do with Fears. And then Trey Murphy as well, who has been incredibly quiet, 155 for him. They've both been ordinary. I think maybe it's more role-based for Poole. I think he'll come good. But Trey Murphy's been incredibly slow and another real good buy low candidate for me. I'm chasing him in a lot of leagues at the moment. Not only does he fit my punt, but I think I'm just a Trey Murphy fan, and I know this is going to turn around. So I'm looking for him in any league I'm in.
Yeah, I'm obviously extremely worried about Poole. They played Fears over him and only gave him 20 minutes off the bench, which is insane. I don't know what they're doing. It's my least favorite franchise. You and I were talking off air about the fact that they should, by all intents and purposes, be better than this because they've got good pieces, and they've got good pieces. Maybe besides a centre that doesn't really make sense for what they're doing. The team should work. They've got defense, they've got offense, they've got like a reasonable amount of depth. They got youth that don't have a lot of experience, but they tick a heap of those boxes. Their coach is shite, and that's probably a big part of it too. He's the most nervous-looking man in the NBA at all times. He also has, I mean, I won't even say it. I'm not here to just pull the man to pieces. I don't even know the guy, but yeah, I'm not a fan of him, and I'm not a fan of his work. But yeah, Poole, I'm extremely worried about. And the scoring's been fine. He's like averaging 20 points a game. Like his field goal percentages hasn't been atrocious. It's never going to be good because that's not the guy he is. The free throw percentage has been great, but he's just been empty everywhere else. Like no rebounds, no assists, no steals, no blocks, nothing. On the other side, Trey, he just looks like he's not trying that hard. Like, he's basically had like 3 games where he's been like got 1 or 2 shots in out of like the 7 to 9 that he's getting. He's getting a lot of rebounds, which I shouldn't be surprised. The dude's like 10 foot tall for a guy who's not playing the 4 or 5 really on his team. He should be getting a shite ton of rebounds. But yeah, like the scoring's been off. That's the one thing that you think you're home and hose with him. But the defensive stats have been mid. The assists, it's not really his game, but they're not there. So he's basically just a rebound streamer at the moment.
Yeah, it's rotten, isn't it? 36 minutes a game too, so we can't say that he's not getting opportunities. He's out there. He's just doing laps. He's just he's doing his best Danny Green impersonation at the back end of his career.
He's doing the Malley on the court, just running Rover.
I don't think I've ever heard Matrix talk about him just doing laps. Or he seems to be in the thick of it all the time in true Matrix fashion.
Yeah,
bit of Pat Beverly about him, I reckon.
Yeah, he's jumping on the table when they like win their first game of the match against the team who got relegated from the division above, and I'm the guy who gets the most steps up because I'm running around and just doing a lot of clapping. Really, that's basically my job on the basketball court. Oh, and I have the best shoes. I'm the kid whose parents buy him the best shoes. They rock up to the game like, oh man, this guy's gonna carve it up. He's wearing like Grinches, and then I just like don't do anything out there and fake a hammy injury and go and sit on the bench in the second half and eat oranges.
As a cricketer, that is the equivalent of all the gear and no idea, and I'm proud.
Yes.
Yeah, because I love that. Let's move on to the Rockets, mate, because there's a couple of concerns over in Rocket Land as well, and it is Tari Eason, one of your boys, one of my guys. He's at 143 at the moment, but he's starting to come good, so hopefully a bit of love there. And Amen Thompson, 170. What are your thoughts on these two guys? Let's start with Amen, because obviously people took him potentially even in the first round if they were punting points, and there's a few wacky builds there that he fit into quite nicely. He looked good in the preseason, and then things have been pretty quiet to start.
It's a little bit concerning in the way that it's the perfect storm for him. Like they lost Fred VanVleet, which could only mean good things because he could never really hold the point guard position down on that team because Fred was always there. And then we were like, what does he do? Because they're obviously going to put Shepherd in the starting lineup. And then they didn't put Shepherd in the starting lineup. So now he realistically is the point guard, on which last year he was great. Scoring's never been his forte. So at point guard, all he has to do is dish him out, pull down rebounds, and if he can get some blocks and steals along the way, it's like happy days. But that's probably where he's hurting the most, and that'll be the thing that pushes
Yeah.
his value back up quickly. Is if he can just get back to that, like if he can get 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks plus, things are going to be coming up good for him. But I'm not that worried. Yeah, it's just a shame too, because you're always going to compare him to his brother, and his brother's probably been better than him so far. So
He has been, yeah. And it'd help if he put a 3 in the basket. That would be great. I think he shot like
yeah, just the
none from
ones.
12 or 13 this year from 3. So
Yeah.
not
So
ideal,
that
but yeah, it'll come back.
that ranking's ludicrous. Like he's not that bad. Like no one's thinking that he's outside the 150, but I mean it is at least putting him in the spotlight that he should be doing much better.
And it's all the threes that are bumping his field goal percentage down too. He's usually a 550 guy, and he's at 458
Yeah.
at the moment on 12 shots a game. So that probably
Yeah.
just tells you that things are, naturally he's way too low, and they'll come back. So another buy low there for sure. And Tari Eason, mate, obviously we've seen and got snippets of what we know he can do over the last couple of games, but it was rotten the first couple. So he was dropped to waivers in one of the leagues I was in, so I snapped him up as quick as I possibly could off waivers. He'll be a guy that I hold for the year, I would say.
Yeah. I picked him up. I picked him and Kelly Oubre up on the same day. I didn't think I'd get both of them, but I was like, yeah, man, okay, I'll take both. And and what I do like about Tari is every game that he's played has been better than the one before. So he's going the right direction. He's trending the right way, and he hasn't even done what he kind of when he rests on his laurels, he rests upon his steals. And his steals haven't even been that strong. So he's been getting assists. He's been getting some rebounds in the last few games. He's been scoring. And he's been doing all this in under 25 minutes. And I think that's a happy place for him. But if he can get some steals, man, he'll just fly up that board.
Speaking of steals, you've set me up for a few nice segues tonight, mate. Appreciate that. Dyson Daniels, 181. Now, he's the last of the list, the lowest on this list as well currently in terms of rankings, and obviously we don't put too much stock into early season rankings, but Dyson Daniels has been ordinary. In just more eye test based stuff, like just not getting himself anywhere near as involved as he would. Maybe it could be a Trae Young issue as much as anything. When Trae Young's assists are down, maybe Dyson Daniels has to pick up the secondary ball handling, and life just gets a lot harder for him when Trae Young isn't cooking. So, yeah, everything's down. 500 from the free throw line, 314 from the field, no threes. 0.2 of a three. I think he's only hit 1 3 all season in 5 games. The only thing saving him at the moment from being a 300th best player is 2.2 steals a game, which we know he does.
Yeah, I feel like he might get a bit of the Miles Turners here, and when the best man's out, he might be able to revive himself, and that might be just enough for the ball to get rolling again. Good that he's getting his steals, because unlike a lot of players on the list that we've talked about, they're not really doing the thing that you bought them for. But you always hope with him, when you're picking him up around that 50 mark, that he's going to be able to do some other stuff. I mean, I had a scary moment the other day where I just got a punt points kind of bill where I'm just really focused on defensive stats, and I had him and Case and Wallace, and I was like, damn, I don't know which one to drop. Like, that should have been a no-brainer. I shouldn't have had to think about that, and I certainly shouldn't have to think about it with the fact that half of the Thunder are out, and that's going to hurt Wallace. But I was like, damn, I was hovering over both of them. Like, someone's got to go. I don't need both of them. They're both doing the exact same thing. But common sense hopefully prevailed, and Wallace went back to the waiver, and Dyson's there waiting to hopefully improve.
Look, he can't get any worse. I think it's very clear. In Atlanta in general, I think that Atlanta have been really poor, and they will get better as a team. Trae, Dyson, those guys will get better. Kristaps, Porzingis, and Jalen Johnson are both in the 30s at the moment, so they're doing fine. But everybody else around them struggling and suffering a little bit off the back of that poor play. So they'll come good. As will a lot of the guys we've just spoken about, mate. So, some buy low candidates there, and some potentially a couple of sell highs. Maybe we're riding the wave on a few of them. So, we've covered 20 players tonight on, the guys that are red hot in week 2. And I'll probably just come back and keep doing this kind of stuff every single week. Who's been cooking in week 3, who hasn't, to give you guys some opportunities on getting some trades in. Malley, I know you love a trade, mate. I'm actually really looking forward to you telling me what this trade was that you butchered later. That's going to be fun.
I'll tell you my first trade, which is in the same league, and I'm pretty happy with that. It's a keeper league. and I moved on from PJ Washington and Vassell. So PJ,
That's fine.
I'm a little bit worried about what he's doing. And it just didn't suit my build. I need threes, I need free throw percentage, two things that he's not really getting. And his turnovers have been insane. They've been like 4 turnovers a game. So I traded them for Peyton Pritchard. So I thought I did all right there. Two guys that I think are falling off. Peyton, I think, is going to pick up. So yeah, but I don't even want to talk about the next one because then no one will listen to my next episode. They'll just mute me out.
We'll keep that one off the air then for the sake of the podcast then,
Please.
and for your
Yeah.
reputation. Now that you've
Yeah.
reached 100 followers on Instagram, we'll need to keep that one quiet. So
I don't want to go back down to double digits.
Guys, thanks for tuning into the first episode. It's week 2 stock market. We'll bring you it every week. Hit the subscribe and the like if you like the content. Give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you for the next one. It'll be Sunday night in Australia, Saturday night in US. Maddie and Malley will be back to give you help to win your matchup. So we'll see you then.